Okie dokie. Let's make sure I have enough light. Okay, people. It's kind of dark in here, but if I turn the other light on, it's going to be... Oh, let me see how I can make this work. Give me a second. I'm going to turn on another light on. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Makeda Valletta. And I hope you're having a good night. I am in Cali, Colombia right now. And I'm so confused. I'm so confused. If you've been following my videos, since I've been in Colombia, like I did videos last year in 2018 when I first came to Cartagena. And I've done videos since I've been here this time in 2019 in Cartagena and Medellin, right? And I did a video on Medellin that I haven't edited for you guys yet and posted yet because I don't edit my videos, but I did one that I was going to try to edit. So, oops. Okay, I think my Instagram paused. People on Instagram, tell me if you can hear me when you come back. Okay, so I really wanted to wait until the daytime to do this video because daylight is always better than these artificial lights. And so I'll probably look dark right now. But I was in Cartagena and then Medellin, and I was supposed to go back to the United States yesterday. And I spoke about how Colombia has always been because of the dancing. It's been because of, I love the music out of Colombia. I love the music out of Colombia, and I know there's a lot of Afro-Colombian dances. I know that there's a lot of Black people in Colombia, right? I know this. I've known this for like 20 years or no more than that. I've known ever since I was a kid about Afro-Hispanics. But Afro-Colombian dances I found out about in college, right? And I'm from New York City, uptown New York City, Harlem, Washington Heights, right? And right across from the Bronx. So salsa, merengue, I grew up hearing that, right? And so it's like kind of like in my blood. And salsa music was really invented in New York. It was Afro-Cuban rhythms. It's based off of Afro-Cuban son montuno. But when you have salsa from Puerto Rico, from Colombia, people add their own, regional rhythms in it. But it's really birthed in New York. Now, Colombia has some dope artists, some dope music, some dope dances. So when I went to Cartagena, Cartagena, I actually found out was the sister city of my dad's hometown, St. Augustine. So my ancestral line on my dad's side is St. Augustine, Florida. St. Augustine, Florida was literally the sister city of Cartagena, Colombia. Now, I did not know that. I found this out. Cartagena de Indias. Okay, they share very similar histories. There's a connection between. Well, I'm not going to get into that right now. But Cartagena has a dance called champeta, and I've done dances before about champeta. Cartagena is very Black. In Cartagena, everybody is Black. In Cartagena, if you're white, you really look out of place, even light skin, right? But champeta is a very African dance. I love the music, but out of my 2 times in Cartagena, I couldn't find people from Cartagena that are doing it. Everywhere I go in Cartagena, whether I ask people from Cartagena or whether I look on blogs, people tell you where to go. Everywhere I've gone, it's just been tourists who can't dance. Now in Cuba, in Havana, you can go places in Havana where there's a lot of tourists, but there's also a lot of people from Cuba who are dancing their asses off. So it could be like 50-50. I don't mind that there's a bunch of tourists as long as there's a bunch of people from there too. That's what I'm trying to find. That's what I came to this country for. I didn't come here to dance with a bunch of corny people, right? Okay. I don't know where to start with this. Okay. Because no offense to anybody and to any Colombians who are listening to this. If there's something that I don't know, please tell me, because I've been trying to find it. Okay, I've been trying. I came to this country with my interest of dance. I knew that Cartagena was known for champeta. You know, people rave about Medellin, not necessarily for the dancing. And then Cali. People kept saying to me, even in this trip, when I was in Cartagena, my Airbnb host told me, you have to go to Cali. And she said it was so much love in her heart. And she said, oh, people in Cali, you know, they dance. Oh, if you dance, that's where you need to go. Oh, they're so beautiful. In general, I think people in Colombia are nice generally, like everywhere I've been, right? So she says that to me, and she tells me to be careful in Medellin. She tells me, and I talk about this in my previous videos, she tells me, oh, be careful in Medellin, they'll cut your arm off. You know, they just killed a Colombian singer in the street. You know I have a Facebook friend from Cali. When he found out I was going to Medellin, he told me, oh, no, Medellin is racist, because Medellin was founded by Jews, and it's more of a, supposedly, what they say is that it's more white than Cali, right? Cali is supposed to be so much blacker. Okay, that's what I've consistently heard. Cali is supposed to be the salsa capital, right? Now, I never knew when they called Cali the salsa capital. I never knew. I always thought they meant the salsa capital of Colombia, not the salsa capital of the world. Because if that's any place, it's either New York or Cuba, okay? It's either New York or not Miami. That's some bullshit, just like what I'm seeing here in Cali. Okay, so what I've noticed since I've been in Colombia, and I have so many things, so many stories to share that I'm probably gonna have to do several videos. But one thing that I've noticed since I've been here is that the things that people tell you should be the opposite all the time. Like nothing makes sense. Like I got stuck here. I was okay. Oh God, where did I start? Hold on, let me get my mind straight. Okay. I was in Medellin yesterday. I was supposed to fly back to the States, and I missed my flight due to a series of things that occurred that inspires a whole lot of other conversations. So since I got stuck here, the cheapest way out of here was to come to Cali and then to leave, right, from here. Now, I've been hearing about Cali since, you know, I was in college. And even during this trip, when I was in Cartagena, when I was in Medellin, even last night, I was in a supermarket, and a white man from Colombia, because, yes, there are white people who are Hispanic. There are white people, there are white Colombians and white Cubans. I have seen lots of white people in Colombia that if they did not speak, you would have thought they were from Idaho, Ohio, and Kentucky. That's exactly what they look like. Okay? You cannot tell the difference. They're white. Just like there are black people here that if you saw them, you couldn't tell they weren't from St. Louis or Detroit or anywhere else in America, right? That's Latin America, just like United States. It's mixed race. So speaking to me in perfect English, because most people here don't speak English. And when I asked him, he had a British accent. I asked him where he's from. He told me he was born and raised in Medellin. When I told him about how I love, you know, the dancing, that's what really made me interested. And Afro-Colombian dance, salsa, yes, I love salsa, and I love Colombian salsa. But I'm interested in learning more about Afro-Colombian dances. Because just like with America, the shit that is dope is the shit that the black people are doing, okay? Just like the United States, everything that's dope that comes out of the United States, it comes from us, okay? Same thing in Latin America. All the dope shit from Cuba, all the dope shit from Puerto Rico, all the dope shit from Dominican Republic, all the dope shit from Colombia, it comes from black people, okay? Okay, let's just get that straight. So, this man last night tells me, oh, La Raza, in Cali, La Raza, La Negra, like, he's like blowing kisses, oh, you have to go to Cali, it's, you know, and everybody's telling me that. That's what the black people are. It's so black there, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I don't know if I'm missing something. So anybody who knows about Cali, please point me in the right direction if I'm missing something, okay? But what I know is that the way there's songs, there's beautiful salsa songs about Cali, okay? There are salsa songs from Colombia about Cali that has made me fall in love with Cali from like 20 years ago. I've wanted to come to this place, right? So I end up here, And I was actually going to come next month. And now I'm like, fuck. Like, I just booked this ticket here and I don't want to come back here. I really don't. Maybe something will happen that will change my mind, like that I'll see, that I haven't seen yet. But this is my experience. Since when we landed, it was like we landed in the middle of like cornfields or something. Like, it wasn't even pretty. Like, landing in Medellin, and usually I don't pay attention to, like, when I'm on a plane, I usually don't pay attention to like the landing. I'm usually in the aisle and I don't care. I had to sit in the window going into Medellin, and then going to Cali, I was at the window. So I'm looking, and it's like, it was so beautiful when I landed. When I was in Medellin, I felt really safe. I stayed in 2 different neighborhoods, and I felt pretty safe, even though I heard stories of people getting robbed. I felt pretty safe, right? But in Cali, the whole ride from the airport was not beautiful. I didn't see anything beautiful. And I mean, the land wasn't like the flora and fauna wasn't beautiful, you know? The flora, like, I could drive through Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and see beauty. Right? Driving from the airport, no, the flora and fauna wasn't beautiful. The landscape wasn't beautiful. And then once we started getting like into the city, it is honestly, and no offense to anybody, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm a New Yorker. I'm honest. I'm just saying, because I feel like somebody has to tell the truth, because a lot of people just say they like shit just to be politically correct and to be nice. They don't want to hurt people's feelings. But honestly, Cali is the ugliest fucking city I've ever seen in my life. I feel like, where the fuck am I? Why am I here? That's really how I feel. A lot of Spanish, not always, but a lot of places that were colonized by the Spanish have nice architecture, and it can vary, you know, whether it be places in Cali versus, I mean, Miami's not really that pretty. I mean, there's certain areas in Miami that's pretty, but a lot of it's not really that pretty. But you know, like, my dad's from St. Augustine, Florida. That was the northernmost empire in the Spanish, the northernmost colony in the Spanish Empire. That's a beautiful place. It's just boring to me. Kind of like Cartagena, beautiful and boring. I mean, Cartagena to me is gorgeous, but I think it's a good place to go shopping, you know. But that's about it, like, or party with tourists. But right now, I'd rather be in Cartagena than be in Cali. So, okay, so the thing is that I come to Cali and, like, I'm looking, you know, I'm in the car. We had a long ride from the airport to where we were going. I didn't see one beautiful thing, not one beautiful person, and not one beautiful thing. Like, not one beautiful outfit, not one beautiful building, not one beautiful tree. Like, everything was hideous. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I don't get it. Now, it looks old, but not old in a good way, you know, because something can look old like New Orleans or like parts of New York or Boston. I haven't even spent much time in Boston, but I know there's some pretty parts of Boston. Savannah, Georgia, you know, that's older, but it's beautiful. No, here it's old and dusty. Like, and the architecture is not beautiful. It's not. I haven't seen one piece of architectural structure. Now, again, this is my first day, so maybe it's some shit I ain't seen, but I've never seen anything that looks as bad. So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's like Detroit, you know? Like, to me, Detroit, it looks bad on the outside. Like, I'm not a fan of driving around Detroit and looking out the window and looking at the eyesores, right? But one thing I noticed about Detroit is that it might look bad on the outside, but when you go inside, it's dope as fuck. And in Detroit, there's a lot of good-looking Black people in Detroit. You know, people in Detroit have good style. I feel like some of the best-looking Black women I've seen in America come from Detroit, or Michigan in general. Like, for some reason, they just breed Amazons. I don't know what that's about. But what I noticed in Detroit, and it's been a minute since I've been there. You know, I haven't been in Detroit in some years. But I just remember it just being hideous on the outside. But every time I stepped inside of a building, it was dope inside. The people were beautiful. This girl looked good. This dude had swag, you know? And cool-ass Black people in Detroit. So here in Cali, first of all, I barely see Black people. And people kept telling me this is like such a Black city. And I'm like, we drove for a long time. Even when I was on the plane, even when I landed in the airport, the people in the airport, and my hour-long drive from the airport, where there was tons of people in the street constantly. I saw a few Black people, but very few. Probably the same amount that I saw in Medellin. Cartagena, you see a lot of Black people, right? So I know this girl from New Orleans who's been living in Medellin for the past, she's been living in Cali for the past 2 years. She's been living in Cali for the past 2 years. And, New Orleans, if you know me, I talk about how New Orleans is one of my favorite cities on earth. Like, on earth. Okay, I could tell you right now, not a lot of places could talk about this of New Orleans or New York, right? But New Orleans is a shit. So anyhow, I know this girl from New Orleans has been living here for the past 2 years in Cali. So when I got here, I'm thinking, like, am I missing something? So I had to ask her, like, what is about this place that you love? Like, why do you love it here? And then with the dancing, she told me that people here really can't dance that well. She said most people from here are not good salsa dancers. She was like, they love salsa a lot. They play it all the time, but they're really not good dancers. And I was like, really? I'm like, for 20 years, I've been hearing about Cali. Even during this trip, people were telling me, go to Cali, you have to go to Cali, right? I keep hearing this constantly, 100% from every Colombian. And Cartagena and Medellin, people were not dancing. And I was surprised at that because I thought that in most cities, in most Colombian cities, people would dance. That's what I thought. And that's why you can't generalize the people and think that, like, all people that speak Spanish dance the salsa or whatever. And like where all these things came from. So, reggaeton is the one thing that I feel like I hear the most throughout Latin America that probably unites Latin America. But even then, Latin America is huge, so you can't really generalize. But Colombia, just because there's so many good salsa artists, and probably the impression I got from one of my best friends, she was an amazing salsa dancer. And she always told me, you need to come to Cali. So, I don't know, but I barely see Black people here. So I went to this spot. I asked my Airbnb host, where was a good place for me to go. And my friend from New Orleans gave me a long list of things. And she basically told me, no, they're not really that good at dancers. She thought when she moved here from New Orleans that her salsa game would go up. But she told me I've been really disappointed. And I believed her. I believed her because New Orleans, not only does New Orleans know how to turn up, New Orleans even, but I've just always had it's my favorite place to go dancing is New Orleans, right? So New Orleans and New York. So the thing is that she told me no, she was so disappointed. So she tells me about this place, and my Airbnb host tells me about this place, and then you Google it, everybody talks about this place, and go there. Okay, first of all, there was like military at the front door, right? Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on, my thing stopped on IG. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Somebody said reggaeton in Puerto Rico and Colombia. No. Reggaeton started in Panama. And then Puerto Rico is the one that made it popular. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to go back live again on my IG. I'm going to finish this story. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm on live. Okay, I am. 1 minute. Okay. Go back. Can you guys on YouTube hear? Do you guys hear another sound? Okay, so on IG, I don't know what happened. The thing just cut off, but I'm back. So I archived what I was saying before. And you can also find it on the YouTube page, the Renaissance Amazon. I don't know why it cut off. So somebody said each culture has its own music. No, I understand that. I study these things. I know about Bombón Plena from Puerto Rico. I know that merengue is from the Dominican Republic. I know that, Colombia has cumbia. I know that there's amazing, I know about the stuff from Afro-Peruvian stuff, So yes, every culture has its own stuff, but A lot of people in the Spanish-speaking world listen to salsa music. You know, I mean, and there's so many different styles to dance it. And Colombia is known for having very good salsa dancers in a unique style. And Cali in particular is known for that. So for me, I didn't think that, yes, of course, yeah, like amazing. He's from Barranquilla or Cartagena area. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Champeta, which is from Cartagena, and nobody's fucking dancing. Okay. So when I was in Medellin, the man told me, oh, we don't dance in Medellin. That's what he told me. And you know what? When I was in Medellin, you know what I kept hearing? DMX, Biggie, Jay-Z. They're playing all this New York hip hop. And I'm like, I didn't come here to listen to New York hip hop. Even last night, I was eating some really good food. And I look down and I see Biggie's picture and Nas and all these New York rappers. And people breakdancing. So Medellin, they really like hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So, and then like at nighttime, Medellin has, I think it's the best food place I've ever been. Like I love the fucking food. Like more than any place I've ever been. But, you know, the nightlife is just nobody dances. It's just girls trying to pick dudes up to make them pay them. And I'm like, okay, even if you want to do that, can you still dance? Like nobody dances in Medellin. And the man told me last night, he told me that we don't dance in Medellin. He said you have to go to Cali. So tonight I go to this spot. Okay, so I go to this spot that people talk about. What is it called? You know what? Hold on. I should find it. I should say what it's called because it's a well-known place. It's La. Okay, I'll tell you in a second. Hold on a minute. So I go to this space, and of course, it is interesting how Colombia got rid of a lot of their violence, you know, and a lot of it I know has to do with them searching people, stopping and searching people. Also, was a female, you know, cop that had full like armor on, and they checked me several times, you know, like all my waist belt and even let me take. So even though they checked everything, they wouldn't even let me take my bag in the place. Like I still had to like check my bag, and also it was weird because when you pay, it was like, oh yeah, this is the place. Okay, the place is called La Topa Tolondra. La Topa Tolondra. This shit was the worst place I've ever fucking been. But okay, so La Topa Tolondra. This everybody talks about. So okay, so when you go pay, the woman that's taking the money, she's like behind this like wall, when there's a little slit on the bottom, like you can't see her, you know, like it's like this wall, a little slit on the bottom. I have to put my money through there and then wait for her to give me the money back. It was really weird. And I'm like trying to look and see like what's going on. And I'm like, that was weird. And then, you know, the cop checks me several times. So anybody come in there with any weapons or anything like that. And the female cop, she was cute and serious, you know. And then like I had to give my bag, couldn't even bring my bag in there. So then I come in the place, huge dance floor, people dancing, right? But it was like, I'm like, is everybody off beat? It seemed like the worst room of salsa dancers I've ever seen dance salsa. It was like maybe a couple of them could dance. And even then, not really. And then everybody was like bumping in each other, stepping each other's feet. Now, first of all, the number one thing about dancing salsa, like really good salsa dancers, you don't bump into people. You just don't. No matter how crowded it is, you don't. They were bumping into each other off beat, like dudes trying to like lead women, spin them around, and just all off. And there was barely any black people in that room. Like barely. There's probably like 4 black men. One black dude with dreads tried to talk to me, and he looked so American. Well, I mean, like so much like you can't tell with the diaspora. You might think you can always tell who's from the Caribbean, who's from South America, who's from North America, but you can't always tell. Because there are people from New Orleans who look just like somebody from Puerto Rico. There's people from New Orleans, from North Carolina, they look just like somebody from Trinidad, trust me. You know? So you can't always tell, even though you might think. So this dude looked like he could have been from anywhere in America, right? But he didn't speak a word of English. Right now, I see Another black guy in there, but my complexion, his eyebrows he drew his eyebrows on in the fakest way, and it was like horrible. And I'm just like, I'm just going to stand here for a second and just watch these. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing. I'm very touchy. And the New Yorker in me, people can say what they want about New York, but in New York, we respect personal space. We really do. And as a New Yorker, you can't don't get in my aura. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of places I go, people violate your motherfucking aura. People be too much in your shit. Like, back up. Like, and so I don't like people touching me. Like when I'm in a club or something and people are walking by, I cannot stand it. Like when I tell you I cannot stand it, I cannot stand it. When people put their hands on me when they walk by, male or female, I'm like, just fucking walk by. Don't touch me. That's number one. Number two, if you need to get by me, say excuse me. Don't just like push me out the way like I'm not standing here. That shit I can't stand either. That makes me boil on the inside. And one thing I must say that I've noticed in Colombia, people in Colombia are very sweet, but people in Colombia seem to be totally unaware of like the fact that you're taking up space. Move the fuck over. Very and too touchy, too touchy, too touchy. The old man that picked me up from the airport. Oh my God! Like I've had 2 taxis here almost act like they wanted to like take me home and like keep me forever or something, and they just like, like just acting too Google Gaga and like, and this old man like. First of all, he was so old, and he wanted to carry my suitcase up the 4 flights of stairs in my Airbnb, so it was okay because that bag was kind of heavy, but he carried it. And I'm like, he's strong because he really carried it up all 4 flights, and again, that's that man strength. But he just kept talking to me, and I'm like, okay, like after a long trip, I don't want to talk to somebody in a different language. I don't want to talk to somebody in English. I just want you to leave so I can like decompress. Maybe smoke a blunt, just decompress, you know what I'm saying? So like, and I'm just so confused because the whole ride, I'm like, this is so like, I'm looking at people out the window. Nobody's outfits look nice. Nobody looked like anything. Nothing that I saw in the city looked like anything. Everything, I'm looking down like streets and it just looked horrible. And it's like, you could have, and then it doesn't feel anywhere near as safe as Medellin. It really doesn't. Like, I would not walk out here right now and walk anywhere. And I honestly don't look forward to walking around tomorrow. I don't. I got some street food on the street. It's not good. But when I was in Medellin, everything was fucking good. Street food, everything. Cheap food, the so-called expensive, everything was good. Okay, so so then, so in that salsa club, it was barely any black people, a lot of white Hispanics. Like, then it was like this tall, beautiful black woman. See, this is the thing that people have to understand about Latin America. It's no different than the United States. If you took a picture of a club in the United States and you got black people, white people, that look however they look, you can have that same picture in Latin America. White people and black people in a room that look just like that. And you would not be able to tell that they are on, but she was one of the few black people in the room. There was another black woman in there with braids. She looks like this girl that I know in New Orleans, actually. But she had braids of different colors, and she was dancing with her sneakers, dancing salsa. But she was dancing with this old white guy, whatever, not that that matters. But like, like you couldn't tell that where they were from. My thing on IG keeps stopping. But it was just the worst dancing. And I'm thinking to myself, who said that Cali is the salsa capital of the world, is what they say? Now, no, I can't judge it on this one place that I went to. But the fact that my New Orleans friend gave me the heads up, and the fact that I can say that since I've been in Colombia, and this is a longer video I want to do, since I've been here, I've noticed that a lot of things that people tell me is not accurate. A lot. Like the people that tried to scare me about Medellin and tell me it was racist. And I didn't have any problems in Medellin with anybody. Nobody seemed weird or racist or anything, and I felt way safer. It was prettier than here, like people don't dance there either. But I'm just so shocked. Like, I thought Colombians danced. Because if you're in Puerto Rico, it's not that hard to find people that's gonna get up and start dancing. Cuba, oh my God, this makes me love Cuba so much more. It's like, Colombia, you have the internet everywhere. And so, like, actually, I can be on my phone and send text messages here, and I'm not being charged anything extra. In Cuba, it's like damn near impossible to get on the internet. I can't even look at my bank account and see my bank account balance in Cuba. Can't get more money in Cuba at all as an American. But Cuba is litty. It's lit. People are stylish. There's a lot of black people in Cuba, way more than you would expect. People are very stylish and they dance their asses off. And so that's what I appreciate about Cuba. In Colombia, I'm like, okay, so many people tell me that Cali is so black and I barely see black people. And if it's so black, I feel like out of this long drive I had, I should have seen that. When you go to Havana, as soon as you get to Havana, you see black people. When you go to Cartagena, as soon as you get there, you see black people. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're not going to drive for an hour and not see lots of black people. So I'm just confused. And I just feel like the salsa capital of the world should be New York. Because it's showing that Miami. Miami salsa scene is whack. Oakland has a better salsa scene than Miami. Or Cuba. Even though Cubans dance to so many things. It's not just salsa, but they can dance they motherfucking asses off. Okay, back on IG. That video keeps stopping, so to the IG people, you can go back and listen to the previous 2 videos, and you can also listen to it on my YouTube page or Renaissance Amazon, because my IG keeps stopping. Okay. And then, like, on my ride to the place, because there's an app I used here, which is, it's like Uber, but it's not Uber. And it's good because my Uber account has been messed up. And I've been trying to get back into it, and I can't. And so this is app. Oh, I can't show you because I'm on my phone. What was the app called? I don't know. I'll write it below my YouTube video. But there are 2 apps that's similar to Uber. They're similar to Uber, and so I use that to go there. And the whole ride to the place and the whole ride back, it was so desolate. So desolate. Like, there's no way that I would walk around. It was not pretty, super desolate. And just like the deadest of dead. And I'm just thinking, like, why do any of you people live here? Like, I'm not understanding. So again, I still need to search and see more things. But to have been here, to have such a long drive through this city and to see everything just look like the worst shit, like, because it's like, even in Havana, Cuba, right? Havana, Cuba, and just Cuba, period, a lot of it is run down. But the structures are gorgeous. The architecture is gorgeous. Here, and like, where are all these black people that they keep talking about? And why do people dance so bad? Because, I mean, I've never been in a room full of that many salsa dancers who were that bad, as what I saw tonight. And I was like, if another person fucking touches me, I'm going to scream. Then I came outside. Yeah, people just kept walking by me, but people here do that a lot. Like, they don't understand, excuse me, and they don't know how to move the fuck out the way when they know they're in the way, and that really annoys me. The New Yorker in me is definitely annoyed by that. But the fact that my New Orleans friend gave me a head up and told me that the dancing here was not all it's cracked up to be, it was a big disappointment. So I'm like, what's going on? What's going on, Colombia? Like, can somebody please, to anybody out there who got the inside scoop, can you please tell me where to find the dope Colombian dancers, especially the black ones, the Afro-Indigenous ones? Can you please tell me where to find people from Cartagena who really dance champeta and not the tourists? I don't care if there's tourists in the room, but I want to see the real deal. Like, is it extinct? Where do they really dance at in Colombia? Because everybody kept telling me to come to Cali, come to Cali, come to Cali. And at this moment, if I could leave this place tomorrow, I would. I'm stuck here until Wednesday because it was the cheapest way out of the country after I missed my flight. But I know there must be some reason that I am here. So I'm trying to like be open to that. But okay, so anyhow, somebody said there's a big difference between Afro Americans and Afro Latinos. Yeah, there are some. Like the fact that a lot of Afro Latinos, and this is something that I don't see in Cuba, which is another reason why I love Cuba, because they actually know they're black. A lot of people in Latin America, like, and this is another thing that I feel like I'm seeing here in Cali, and I don't know if what I'm seeing is accurate, because it's like I can't talk to them, I can't get in their minds. But the black people that I did see here, they seem almost lost to me, like they seem almost lost. And I'm just like, where are all these black people in Cali? Can somebody tell me where the fuck they are? Because on my long ass drive, I've seen more black people in any neighborhood in New York than I've seen since I've been here. Like Cartagena is definitely very black, but they say that, Cali is so much blacker. Oh. Um, There was just a horrible experience tonight. Like I tried to sit there and like watch it, and I was just so bored, so shocked at how horrible all the dancing was. Then I leave and I'm like, I'm hungry, and like when I was on my ride from the airport, I didn't see anything that looked particularly good to eat. But I said, you never know. Sometimes things don't, looks good, but it is. But I did get some street food, some empanadas that I don't know, they're all right. Um, and it's like every time I've been in Latin America, like in Cuba is really bad, but like um, even in Costa Rica, it's like people's addresses, nobody knows the fucking addresses. Like the addresses are so confusing. It's like, why? I feel like every single time I get in a taxi and I tell them the address that I was given, they're always confused and never know exactly what you're talking about. You got to explain to them a few different ways. So, the whole ride, it was just hideous. I'm looking out the window and I'm like, you couldn't pay me to walk a block right now. And it's an eyesore. So I'm gonna see what else I see. But again, I said, if you know Cali, can somebody please tell me what I'm missing and what I'm not seeing? Because I feel like this city has been hyped up. Like some things are hyped up and there's a reason why. Like New York City gets hyped up, but New York City is dope as fuck. It really is, for so many reasons, you know. But this city, I feel like I don't understand what's going on. Like I could go to a better salsa party in New York, in the Bronx, in Harlem. I've been to better salsa parties in the Bay Area. So it was just a train wreck. The ride home was hideous. The food wasn't good. I just don't like this place. Like, to be honest, I don't like it. And people can have their opinions. Everybody has their opinions. But I am researching and searching. So if somebody can tell me where I'm supposed to be looking and where these black people in in Cali, I see them in Cartagena. But it's sad because if Cali really is a blacker city, this is definitely a lot. This city is a lot more rough and dusty and like not taken care of. Just like Cartagena and Medellin are a lot better. And so I'm like, my complaints about Cartagena and Medellin, I wish I could zap myself back to Cartagena and Medellin. And then when I come out of the place, there's a liquor store across the street. There's two liquor stores. Like Cross the street to the right, there's 2 liquor stores. Cross the street that way, there's 2 liquor stores. It's just liquor stores, like not bodegas. They didn't sell food of any sort, just a bunch of liquor stores. And I'm like, damn it, I'm hungry. Like, there's nothing over here. Everything is closed. It looks so desolate. It looks dusty. It looks scary. Like something out of a haunted movie. Like, if I showed you pictures off of this balcony that I'm on, it wouldn't look too nice. So, I don't know. I'm just really confused because I've just noticed this pattern since I've been here of people telling me one thing and it being something else. Like, I took a taxi earlier when I was in Medellin, and some taxis have meters. So when I go to pay him what the meter says, he tells me I have to give him more. And then he shows me on this piece of paper where it says that the minimum, they have an actual minimum payment. So I'm like, okay, well, if you have a minimum payment, then why the fuck did you put the meter on? Because maybe the meter started at $3,500, right? And maybe we got to $4,200 by the time he took me to where I was going. So I try to give him that. And he's telling me I have to pay him $5,500. I'm like, why? The meter says $4,200. He pulls out this paper where it says the minimum payment is $5,500. So I'm thinking if that's the minimum payment, then why do you have on the meter? This makes sense. Then another taxi and drives me to the airport. His meter says $4,100 something. And I pay him. He tells me I owe him $75,000. And I'm like, but your meter says $41,000. And he's like, oh, that meter doesn't count. That doesn't. And the thing is that is a normal rate. It's like $70,000, $75,000 to the airport. But I'm like, why do you guys have on meters and then say it doesn't matter? Like, I'm so confused. Like, so I'm just so confused about Colombia because I feel like since I've been here, it's like a weird maze, but not in a good way. Because the things that people are telling me, I feel like is not accurate. And people are like, oh, no, you should do this. You should do that. So I was originally coming to Cali. I had originally booked my ticket back to the States from Cali, but I changed it because a Colombian Facebook friend of mine told me he thought it was better for me to go to Medellin as a solo traveler. And I can see why he said that now that I'm in Cali. But to the people who know about Colombia, to people who know about Cali, please tell me where I can find good dancers, really good dancers from here and other places. And if you know anything about Cartagena, I'm asking the same question. And if any of you give me a recommendation and I go there and it's corny, lose all credibility. And the only thing, like, I'm trying to think, was there something else I wanted to say? I don't think so, not right now. I kind of want to put my energy into getting out of here sooner. I don't want to stay here till Wednesday. I don't like this place like that. But again, I'm thinking maybe I'll see something tomorrow that will change my mind. So if I do, I will share. For the Black people, look at these dope salsa dancers. Even in the little Uber thing that I called, it's not Uber, it's a different company, but it's similar. And I put my destination address in. But this one, you can pay them with cash. Like, you can put in where you're going and it tells you how much it's going to be. And you can select cash as an option. So, when the driver came to pick me up, he asked me, oh, where are you going? And I'm like, don't you see it? I put it in the thing. And it was like, it totally gone away. So I'm like, what the fuck is the point? Like in Uber, you put your destination address in and that shit stays in there. You don't even have to talk to the damn driver. But the people here, it's like they keep asking you over and over again, like for an address. They're confused. I'm just like, I can't. I don't know how I would survive here if I didn't speak some Spanish. Because that's all people are going to speak to you, is Spanish. So you better understand it. You better figure out how you're going to talk to them. Because they speak Spanish in Colombia. Spanish is going to take over the Americas. If you can speak English and Spanish, that opens up a lot of the world to you. So I'm going to go lay it down. And I think I've said everything I need to say for right now. But I'm definitely disappointed in this city. Like, I've not seen the food, the beauty, the dancing that I've been told about. So if you know about Cali, Colombia, please point me in the right direction. I'd like to be in a city where I could just go outside and get what I need, do what I want. And I'm not feeling Cali, Colombia. And it's interesting. Oh, sorry. It's interesting because I'm like, people also talk about how there's so many beautiful women in Colombia. And yes, I have seen beautiful women since I've been here. But I feel like the best looking woman I think I've seen have been in Cartagena. Now, you see a lot of people saying there's all these beautiful women in Medellin, and like I've seen a couple of black guys who have blogs about Medellin, and all the girls that they pull up that's pretty, they're all white girls. And I'm not against interracial dating. If you find a white girl attractive, that's fine. But to me, just so you know, if you're really into white girls, then Medellin would be the place to go to find chicks. If you're not, if you're looking for some beautiful melanated sisters, and I don't even like to use that word, Medellin's not the place to go. But Medellin is beautiful and really good food. And I don't really want to stay there 100% in Medellin because I need to spend more time there, and I would go back there just to chill and not expecting to find people dancing because they don't. I'm just so confused about this whole experience here, and I'm trying to understand how I ended up here. Like, I mean, I wanted to come here anyway, but I'm just like, there has to be a reason why my ass got stranded and stuck here because it's super stressful. All the money I had to spend trying to get the fuck out of this country. Okay? Super stressful. And it's put me behind the other things I need to do. So I'm like, why did this happen and why am I here? Because, and this is the place that I've wanted to come to for so many years. But things are not always what they seem. And my New Orleans friend who told me, people here love salsa music. You hear it playing everywhere. But they can't really dance. That's exactly what I saw tonight. So for me, like, yeah, I just have so much to say, but I'm tired. So thank you for listening. Check out my other videos on Colombia. Because there's a lot to say. And I will be sharing more tomorrow after I experience more. Okay? Have a good night. Make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube and Instagram. Okay. Good night. Oh, and people on Instagram, you can go back and listen to the other archive videos from this one. I don't know. People will be writing comments that don't make any sense. Listen to my friends too much. It don't make any sense. Okay. Anyhow, good night. And again, if you have anything to share in Cali, Colombia, on Cartagena or Medellin as it pertains to dance, people that really know, Colombians that really know how to dance, please let me know where to look. Or anything else you think I really need to see in Cali or Medellin or whatever, because there's nothing better than native telling you. But sometimes people from cities are a little bit delusional. Some people think the city is doper than it is. So, but just put me on. All right. Have a good night.